change. This is a game changer. So now I think of it as a game changer. This is where you are. This is what you've called. I feel like I'm aligned with my purpose going forward. So now I just push forward. I see that as a barrier that I need to cross. And so I just move forward. And I think the difference between that is that's called courage.
Okay. I can see that. So when you talk about like pushing forward and you can identify what that fear does that come with like wisdom and age and just like experience, or is there like a certain place that you have to be within yourself and your courage within yourself in order to push through that fear? Or I guess the question I'm trying to ask is like, why is it that some people can push through fear and other people let it overcome them and they're not able to push through it? Is it because that they're not ready? Or like, can you kind of like speak to that? Or
So I want to say it's a combination of all of those things. Um, if you, it your circle, if you constantly have people telling you that you can't do something or this, or, I mean, you guys call them haters, some people will smile in y'all face and y'all know this and not really have your back. And they'll put their fears on you. And so, oh, we can't do that or you can't do that. If you believe, you'll believe that and you won't push forward. Um,
And the crazy thing, not to cut you off, it's literally like that one little seed to be planted, that one little comment or a couple words of
exactly.
of doubt will that those one or two little words of doubt will sow tremendous amounts of fear into you. So
Just one little,
can,
because you're already on edge anyway, and you already have that fear. All you need is one little person to tell you, "Oh, that ain't gonna work," or "You can't do that." It'll paralyze you.
can I say something
Yeah.
with that? And the crazy thing about it is like you may not even be aware of it in that instance.
Hmm.
It may not be until, decades later where you can identify that just because this one person in my ears told me I couldn't do something or I shouldn't be doing something, that is still affecting me today.
Hmm.
So
yeah,
definitely.
and you
Good.
don't even be knowing. You just be walking around like, dang, why? I think that was it you, Sherretha, or some? Maybe it was another person that told me about, you know,
Their friends selling them.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, about the whole meatloaf, right? Like making a meatloaf and putting it in a square in a small square pan, but discarding the rest, and just generations on generations, like making a meatloaf and putting it in a small pan and discarding the rest. And then when one person was like, when they asked like the question, like, why we always do this? Because I mean, we
Hmm.
actually like are wasting a whole lot. Well, it's because we didn't have a bigger pan. Like, what? Like you was afraid to get a bigger pan, or like what was like really going on? And it's like generations and generations like repeating the same crazy, just because nobody either asked the question or they were afraid to ask the question because it was
Hmm.
pretty much just go on with the get on. And then
Exactly.
yeah, and then that whole, you tell somebody and it don't even have to be a dream. It could be like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go across town today because I don't know, I just want to go across town. Well, it's gonna rain. What the, what I'm saying, like for real,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
like dang.
I used to have guys that I would date because I like to be courted. I don't care. I like people to take me out. I like to be courted. And I had somebody tell me that nobody was going to court me because I had all of these kids. Ain't nobody going to court you. Ain't nobody got time for that. And da 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 da. And so when situations would come up, um, where I felt like I was being extra and I asked for if I wanted somebody to take me out, I wouldn't ask because somebody planted that seed
Mm,
that nobody's going to court you. You got too many kids.
mm,
So those little seeds will make you live in fear. And so those things kind of live with you.
hmm.
And so when you get ready to say, "Hey, I'm not getting what I need," or "I want to be courted," or "I want some flowers," oh, that little voice, that little fear. Oh, you don't want them to leave. You scared of them leaving, so I'm not gonna ask for it, and I'll settle. But courage and love of yourself make you do just the opposite.
I love that. So
Yeah,
I
that's
guess,
dope.
Because the opposite of fear is what?
love.
Love.
There you
Yeah.
Love.
go.
Yeah, that's
So I
dope.
Right.
guess that kind of like goes right into like the last question of fear, and you probably answered this, but anything that you want to add on to it, how have you been taught to live in fear?
Um, I don't think that I was taught to live in fear. I think that that's something that kind of develops over time with each person because, um, and I think it's different culturally. I was sitting downtown yesterday and I was looking at all of these kids just playing and flipping and doing all of these things. And these were Caucasian kids. And I thought to myself that when we take our kids, we always stop doing that. Stop doing,
Mm-hmm.
we want them to be good. We
Certain
don't
way.
want people to say, and we're scared about what they're going to say instead of just living and being and doing. And we have that right to be. Um, so it's it's taught. It really is. It really is taught. And then a little thing will happen, like somebody telling you that, saying one little thing that sticks, and nobody coming behind them to say that's not true, or you can do this anyway, or that's you don't feel confident to ask somebody, hey, this guy said so and so to me. That embarrassment too, that,
Hmm.
oh yeah, I do have a lot of kids. Maybe I'm not worthy of that. But if I would have had somebody say, girl, please, he's just trying to get you now. He just don't want to take you out, and he want to make sure he can come to your house and sit on your couch and not take, and you be happy with that. But, you have to have a circle, you have to have a tribe, and that's how we get our strength from each other. And then that way you can move forward and stand on your own one day and be like, that's BS. I can do this. Or you can train yourself to have the courage to move forward and then you pay it forward to someone else. Girl, that ain't, oh no, because now I'm in that position where I share a lot of my experience with people and let them know you push forward anyway. You do it anyway. I don't care what's sitting there. I don't care because if it comes up, it's attainable.
Yep. So would you say that you have to continue to go through those experiences and those lessons until you start asking the right questions, or until you kind of like something clicks and you can say, okay, this no longer works for me and I choose different?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a process.
Okay.
It's definitely a process. It definitely is a process. And like I said, fear is a necessary emotion. It is necessary because it saves our lives, and it's not something that you shouldn't be without. Because if somebody is in an alley, like that fear lets you know, don't go over there, don't talk to him, don't do this, turn around, fight. Like you need fear, but not for moving your life forward. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say, if it's not a dangerous situation, then toss it, overcome it, rise above it.
All right. Well, I definitely thank you for sharing your concept of
Hmm.
fear. Let's move into the next emotion. Let's talk about anger. That's definitely
Okay.
a good emotion, like fear. So, how do anger comes up? In everyday life. I mean, if you don't get angry once a day, like I want to be you for real. I mean, I really even think that like Buddha get mad, but people be talking all crazy like he don't. But anywho's, so how when that anger comes up, how do you release anger? Like how have you just like release that anger?
So for me, to overcoming anger to me is with honesty. And I think Um, because I would get really, really, I don't, that's something that I try not to do, is because I hold on to it for so long. I don't want to do that. So anger is something I try not to get angry now, because it takes me too long to shake it off. It just sticks with me. Um, but I think that when I am not honest with myself and I don't honor myself or my feelings, I think that's when the anger sticks with me. If I can say it, if I can say that that upset me, or why did you do that, or talk about it, then I can let it go. Um, People will upset you. You just have to understand what they may be going through. It may not be intentional. And I want to say most of the time it's not. People are just being people. They have issues, they have things going on. Um, Sometimes, their thinking process is distorted. Most of the time, it's not even personal. But I feel like if I am not honest or honor myself, that is when the anger stays with me and builds up.
Yeah, that's dope that you say that. I know when me and Nene actually talked about anger, um, that was one of the key points that I actually brought up about, honoring how you feel. And it may not even necessarily be like right in that moment, but if you can, and I think that's a superpower if you can and be able to effectively communicate and not, blow up. But honoring how you feel, and if you can't communicate right in that moment, actually talking to that person and not projecting that anger, or giving it to somebody, giving that anger to somebody that it wasn't even for them. They just they just got the pop off because somebody over here said something crazy and you didn't check them on what you thought you heard them say or how they came off to you. So I just kind of recap. It's been a few situations where what I perceived was actually wrong, or somebody wronged me, and in that instance the immediate response was to go to anger versus having those conversations. And one thing that you pointed out is like when you're honest with yourself, you're able to be honest with other people. And I just kind of feel like a good strategy, or a good way for me to not hold on to that anger and have it all in my body, and now I'm getting sick and that other person is, whistling Dixie, so to speak, is to, have those crucial conversations, but from a point of, like you said, understanding that other person may not, they may be going through something, they may not actually, just be intentionally trying to, do that thing that's gonna, rub you the wrong way or piss you off. So definitely, definitely strong, solid points that you make for sure, and definitely
Can I
powerful.
add to that point, Jabri?
Yeah, for
Y'all make
sure.
some really good points, but why is it that we are ashamed by the way we feel?
I think it's because we don't cultivate, effective communication. Like you just get angry, and it's easier to, hold that in versus having a conversation because you afraid, you're afraid that you may come off some kind of way, and you afraid. Well, to me, you're afraid that the other person isn't gonna receive what you're saying.
Right. But even when you do
Hmm.
like have the like you are someone who's a really good communicator and you've built that skill. I know for me personally, especially now that I'm, you know, being more in tune with the way I feel and honoring the way I feel, even though sometimes I feel like it's ridiculous that I feel a certain way. It's like it doesn't matter. I feel that way for whatever reason, and I'm gonna honor the way I feel. Like even with me, like I'm still kind of like going back and forth with myself, and I feel like I'm a pretty decent communicator. Not to say that I'm ashamed by the way I feel, but I'm embarrassed a lot of times by the way I feel because I feel like, I shouldn't be feeling, I'm probably being, overly emotional, or I'm probably taking things out of context, or maybe it's me and not the other person, but instead of just not even thinking about like removing myself out of it and just asking them, hey, why did you say that? Or you said this and it made me feel this way. Like, I still have to have